That is literally one of my favorite things to do is just walk around Epcot trying different foods. And the fact that you could go to Epcot 5 times a year and have different food every single time you're there, I think is amazing.
I will literally make a list of my must-eat treats when I'm there. Just the food is fantastic. It's so great no matter which festival.
Have you been dreaming of travel but not sure where to go or how to begin planning? Well, you found the right podcast.
Welcome to Theme Parks and Passports, the travel podcast for every family ready to explore the world, one destination at a time. I'm Melissa Sanchez, travel addict, wife, and mom of 2 big kids. Along with planning all my family adventures, I've been helping others realize their travel dreams through my company, Spellbound Vacations, since 2010.
And I'm Heidi Mackey, a travel enthusiast with a passion for geek and pulp culture. I'm also a wife and a mom of a spicy tween. Since 2017, I've been creating vacation memories for families through my business, House of Mackey Travel. Join us as we share stories, tips, and talk to those in the know to inspire your family's next great adventure.
Because creating family travel memories can happen in any stage of life.
Hi, and welcome to Theme Parks and Passports. I'm Heidi Mackey from House of Mackey Travel.
And I'm Melissa Sanchez with Spellbound Vacations. Thanks for joining us this week.
We are super excited. It's the beginning of a brand new year. So many exciting things going on. I mean, we're only 2 weeks in, but there's been a ton of stuff on your agenda so far, hasn't there?
There has. I actually just came back a couple of days ago from Walt Disney World. I spent 5 nights there. So I was able to visit all of the theme parks and even have a break in the middle. So it was a great way to start the new year.
Now, this is normally what you try to do in January, right? Is you try to make your first trip, start the year right, we'll call it?
Yes, we do. Normally, my husband will run during marathon weekend. This year he did not, so we were able to not be awake at 3 a.m. and still enjoy all the Disney experience for the beginning of the year.
Now, I noticed the ears. There's got to be a backstory to those.
So these ears are my EPCOT International Flower and Garden Festival ears from 2020. Literally
Wow.
March 2020. So big surprise, was at Walt Disney World just a few days before the world shut down. And we were at the Flower and Garden Festival, one of my favorite times to visit Epcot throughout the year. And these happen to be my orange bird ears that I picked up that year.
Well, I can tell you it's 19 degrees here today. So seeing those beautiful oranges and thinking about the flower festival is definitely helping me along with the tiny little heater that I have on the floor.
Yeah, it's not very warm in New Jersey on this January 16th either. But what does warm my heart is that today is the opening day of the Epcot International Festival of the Arts. This festival runs from today through February 23rd. So this is also such an awesome way to start your year.
My daughter is actually quite irate that we're not able to get down there in the window. We're going to be there for the garden festival actually.
Same. I'm traveling in March, and so I will be there during Flower and Garden. And technically, I was supposed to be there today, but you know, life happens. We had to make some
Yep.
changes, so I'm not there this year. However, I was there a couple of years ago, and what a fun festival this is. We were talking before we started recording about the specific kind of structure and the 3 pillars, so to speak, concept of the festivals. And with this particular festival, it's visual arts, culinary arts, performing arts.
You were there last weekend. Were they starting to set up? Did you get to see kind of more behind the scenes than the actual festival?
Yeah, we were sort of at this weird in-between time, right? It's not quite the holidays anymore, although at a lot of the parks, the Christmas trees are all still up through marathon weekend. Lots of the
Wow.
decorations are still up. In Epcot, there was still some Festival of the Holidays merchandise out. So t-shirts, sweatshirts, those sorts of things you could still pick up. And then it starts pivoting and you start seeing the setup for the Festival of the Arts. So you're seeing some of the booths, most of them are covered, so you're not getting a sneak peek of them, but you're starting to see some of the other things that are going to be set up. One of the things they do, and this is part of the visual part of the festival, are these larger than life picture frames that you can put yourself into. So you can walk into the picture frame and it's the Scream. So you can have the background of the painting the Scream and, you know, put yourself into
Very
it.
cool.
So some of those were starting to be put out. There's a food area, and God, I forget the exact name of it off the top of my head, but it's like Figments area where you can get some of the festival food. And that was already all set up, mind you, roped off, but that was ready to go. So if you're visiting around this time or over marathon weekends, you're going to get a tiny taste of Christmas and a tiny taste of the Festival of the Arts.
The festivals that they have at Epcot, they're just so immersive. I mean, the way that they take a single theme and really completely surround you with it, it's just amazing.
It truly, truly is. And there are 4 Epcot festivals throughout the year. The one that we were just discussing, International Festival of the Arts, that's going on right now through February 23rd. Next up is going to be the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival. That is running March 4th through June 1st. So we just said both of us are going to be able to visit during that time frame. Then you've kind of got the summer off from festivals, and at some point in late August, dates have not been announced yet, the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival is going to begin. And then you have a tiny little break between that and the Epcot International Festival of Holidays, which will start late November, run through, well, technically almost into January. Well, now not officially, but into the beginning of January.
And those specific dates come out closer to summer.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a couple more months before we see the dates for the Food and Wine Festival or the Festival of the Holidays.
Why don't we take a minute and talk about the specifics of each one, especially if people are thinking about visiting Walt Disney World during those times, anytime outside of summer? Like, what can they expect when they're in Epcot?
Sure. So for the International Festival of the Arts, along with those visual arts, there's also these really cool interactive experiences. Like I mentioned, stepping into the frame. One of the other things that's super cool that they do is this animation academy. You learn how to draw Disney characters. Now, side note, that's actually something you can do at Animal Kingdom on a daily basis. So
Mhm.
if you're not there during the Festival of the Arts, but it's something that you really want to do, you can do that at Animal Kingdom. Another thing they have is the expressions section, and this is a big, huge, massive paint by number mural where you can go pick up a paintbrush and help to paint this community mural. And eventually, towards the end of the festival, it'll be finished. And it's a very, very cool thing to be able to participate in. The artful photo ops. This is what I touched on earlier, where you can step right into the frames inside some of famous paintings like The Scream, as I mentioned, or Mona Lisa. That's another one that's offered. And then this year, this is a really cool thing. I know a lot of people are into those Lurkana. Lurkana, I think I'm pronouncing it right, right?
Yep, Lorcana.
The Lorcana trading card game, there is something that they're calling, and I'm reading my notes to make sure I say it correctly, called Collection Quest, where the guests can trade the cards and earn limited edition promo card at the Moroccan Pavilion. But my understanding is with this is that there are larger than life cards all over too that you can
Oh,
check
wow.
out. So there's a lot of different things. But do you want to talk about the performing arts part of it?
Oh, yes, a must see is being able to see Disney on Broadway. They do a concert series where they'll have performers from Broadway's Disney stage shows coming down and doing performances at the American Gardens Theater. It's held nightly. There's 3 shows. As with most of them, there's a 5:30, 6:45, and 8. But you'll be able to see this year Isabella McCullough from Aladdin, Sierra Bogus from The Little Mermaid, and Anastasia McCluskey from Tarzan.
Yeah, and so many others too, and that's what's great about the performing arts part of all these festivals is that every few nights is a different performer, and those lists come out in advance. So if you're thinking about going, but let's say Aladdin is your favorite Broadway show, you can align your trip with making sure that the Aladdin performers are there. So it's something that it's so fun. It's such a great addition to the festival. And like you said, it's a nightly event.
One of the things when I have multi-day tickets and I'm trying to decide which day I want to do what thing, that's the first thing I go to is during a festival is to sit down and see what the performances are. And sometimes that'll guide what day I am going to Epcot.
Oh yeah, definitely. Same with me. And I think the third thing that each of our festivals has is the culinary adventure.
Yes.
And with International Festival of the Arts, they're calling it the Culinary Arts. You know, they're food studios. So there's more than 20 food studios or food booths set up throughout mostly World Showcase, but there are some that kind of come a little bit forward into the front of the park. It focuses on plated art, dishes that look like masterpieces.
Little bit more literal than just food is art. Food is the art.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Everything from, you know, a deconstructed key lime pie to an enchanted rose dark chocolate mousse. I mean, incredible. It's so good. And then there's a food scavenger hunt, the wonderful walk of colorful cuisine, where you can purchase 5 specific colorful dishes and it earns you a complimentary artist themed treat. So that's kind of a cool little thing going on this year. If you're going to be trying lots of food, if you try 5 specific dishes, you can get a free one at the end.
Well, and that's one of my favorite things that they've started carrying through because as we get to the International Festival of the Holidays, I'll talk a little bit about my cookie walk that I was able to do. And it has that same spirit, but it really gives you an opportunity and almost a purpose because that is literally one of my favorite things to do is just walk around Epcot trying different foods. And the fact that you could go to Epcot 5 times a year and have different food every single time you're there, I think is amazing.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's awesome. I love it. I will literally make a list of my must-eat treats when I'm there. And it's funny because one of the things, and I do believe it's from the Festival of the Arts, is this sushi, but it's not actually sushi. It was like a fruit and candy sushi, and it was my
Yes.
daughter's favorite. Just the food is fantastic. It's so great no matter which festival. And the last thing I want to mention about the International Festival of the Arts are the artist showcases. And these are all throughout the world showcases, different artists, Disney artists, and other artists where they're displaying their work. Some of them are holding demonstrations. They may be painting while they're sitting there, and you can purchase these. We've actually purchased 2 pieces over the years. My son, we did a Star Wars one for him. And for us, we have this beach picture with the characters. And I specifically bought that one because of one of the Disney artists that's going to be at the festival this year, Steve Barton. I had purchased one of his Disney art pieces from his gallery in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
And so then when we were there, and I was like, and granted, he is not the artist of the second piece we purchased, but it was just a nice compliment.
And we do have to make a quick note that my boy Figment, he is the mascot of the festival, isn't he? Figment's Brush with the Masters is the scavenger hunt for the kids, but he's going to be the mascot that you see on a ton of merchandise, usually running around with a paintbrush in his hand. We never know if it's going to be for good reasons or for mischievous reasons, but everybody loves Figment.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Everybody definitely loves Figment, and he's certainly one of my favorites.
So why don't we start talking International Flower and Garden Festival, your ears of choice?
Yes, my ears of choice, which I don't know about the rest of you, but they hurt. I don't know why ears need to be this tight. So I'm actually
Yeah.
going to take them off as we start to discuss the Flower and Garden Festival because, to be perfectly honest with you, it's giving me a headache. So, and I do.
Beauty is pain, but you can only take that beauty for so long. I
Yes.
understand.
I don't know about, just kind of a side note, but if you wear glasses too, like you have your glasses on, and normally
Yeah.
I need glasses for distance, or if you have your sunglasses on, that makes it even worse because you're putting your
Mhm.
ears in there. Anyway, total sidetrack, but I had to take those ears off because they were killing me.
No, I'm behind you 1000%. Go for it.
But the International Flower and Garden Festival, this is going to start March 4th. It runs through June 1st, so pretty much most of the spring. You
Mhm.
have about a 2-week period between the end of Festival of the Arts and the beginning of Flower and Garden. But as you mentioned, we're both going to be there this year at that time frame.
Yes, I'm super excited. I can't wait to see it. Especially when you're coming from cooler weather, it's the perfect place to start that spring vibe. And like the International Festival of the Arts, it has those three components. So there's going to be a visual, there's going to be a performance, and there's going to be a food piece to it, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, visual, you're talking all the incredible topiaries that are going to be
Mhm.
throughout Epcot. The performance is the Garden Rocks concert series, which is so fun. That takes place at the American Gardens Theater. Usually, this one, it's more of throwback artists, 70s, 80s, 90s. Again, you'll get that list in advance. And if you know you're going to be there, you'll be able to see which artists are going to be there when you're there, which is so
Mhm.
fun. And then you've got all the outdoor kitchens, similar to Food and Wine, but the focus is more of a farm to table flavors. Everything is fresh, floral infused cocktails. Just again, one of those times where I literally will sit down before I go and make the list of every drink. One of our favorites, my daughter and I, is the violet lemonade. So, so good.
Yeah, and then moving into the educational piece of it, of course, you're going to be able to see the butterfly landing, which I think is one of my favorite things, is to be able to
Mhm.
walk through Butterfly House. If there's a Butterfly House, it's like the place that I want to go. And what I'm most looking forward to, because I'm a tea girl, is the English Tea Garden in the UK Pavilion. I'm putting aside a good amount of time to just hang there and enjoy it. I mean, if you're talking florals, tea is the natural connection, and so we're totally in my vibe for that.
Yeah, I love that. And one of the cool things too with this festival, like I mentioned, were the topiaries. And each year
Mhm.
there's some of the classic topiaries that are there, like Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, Winnie the Pooh, the Peter Pan topiaries. But every year you get some new ones. This year, my understanding is some of the new ones will be characters from Wish and Encanto, which I love Encanto. That's one of my
Yeah,
favorite
yeah.
Disney movies. It's so beautiful, it's so colorful. Perfect, perfect for the Flower and Garden Festival.
I was going to say, what a natural connection between the
Mhm.
two.
Yeah.
And of course, we can't forget the scavenger hunt. There's always going to be some kind of
Mhm.
scavenger hunt. There is a kids scavenger hunt, which is Spike's pollination exploration. So you follow Spike the bee in hidden various locations in the gardens and hopefully learn a little bit about pollinators and their role when it comes to gardens in the earth.
Those are always so fun. I love the scavenger hunts. As my kids were growing up, we would do them.
Mhm.
It just a side note of a scavenger hunt that will be happening. It'll actually take place during the Flower and Garden Festival. However, it's not technically part of the Flower and Garden Festival. Is if you were there over Easter, there's an Easter egg scavenger hunt, and they're set up all throughout Epcot, and you can look for those too. So it for a short period of time, you technically have two scavenger hunts going on during that time period. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a great distraction for anybody who feels like, I don't know how my kids are going to love Epcot. This is a fantastic way for them to enjoy themselves and for you to enjoy the countries while your kids are having a good time doing these scavenger hunts.
Yes, excellent note. And so let's say now we've been there this summer, no festivals to talk about per se because summer is gorgeous in Epcot anyways. But then starting in late August, International Food and Wine Festival. Now I have to tell you that this is definitely the one on my list that I aim to get to every year. And my schedule always seems to end up pushing me not going, but I will get there. I will get there again. But it is my favorite festival because it's food and wine, right?
Oh, how could it not be everyone's favorite festival? It's called Food and Wine, for sure. And one of the exciting things is this year's Epcot International Food and Wine Festival is celebrating 30 years. It
Wow.
debuted in 1996. So this festival takes place. Normally, the dates are late August through mid to semi late November. 2025 dates were August 28th through November 22nd. So it does end before Thanksgiving. It starts after that summer rush has kind of ended. We don't know the dates yet for this year. As we mentioned earlier, it'll be a couple of months probably before we get the dates for food and wine this year. Yeah, fantastic, fun, food, wine focused festival.
Well, I would say this festival, out of all of them, I love them all and I would go to them every single year. But if there is one that, if I was told I had to go to the same festival every single year, this is probably the one that I would pick. I feel like it's an opportunity to do literally a global tasting without having to hop on a plane other than to get to Orlando. You're able to try food from 6 different continents, but the World Showcase becomes so much more than just the pavilions that are already there. There's food from countries that aren't normally represented that you're able to try their food, something that you may not normally have access to. But then there's also the good stable choices. I don't know about you, but guacamole and a margarita from Mexico makes me smile.
It definitely does. There are more than 30 booths that are offering tapa style size portions. You're not sitting down at a table service restaurant. You're literally getting small plates, tastings.
Oh, absolutely. I love getting that passport and just counting the checks as I check my way through. Check, 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 check.
Agreed. I love the little passport you can get. And you can get those little passport or something similar for each of the festivals too, with the food or the drinks that they're offering. So that's a nice little addition. And then along with these global marketplaces, just like the first two festivals we talked about, you have the performance side of things. And this is the Eat to the Beat concert series. These are always high energy mix of pop and rock, country artists that again perform nightly every 2 days or so, 2 to 3 days. The artists change, so you want to check your calendar. In 2025, they included people like the Beach Boys, Boys to Men, Tiffany, Katie Tunstall. So a wide variety that appeals to a large audience.
Now, there's also included a crawl, is what they're calling it, but it would be like your cookie stroll or your food scavenger hunt. It's a cheese crawl.
Mhm.
So you're looking for 5 different types of cheese-based dishes. And then once you have tried all of those, you can show your stamps for those and end up with some type of specialty prize like you would for International Festival of the Holidays and International Festival of the Arts.
Correct. And this one is called Emil's Fromage Montage.
Mm.
So that's such a fun thing to do. If you're a cheese lover like me, I could eat cheese all day. Cheese crackers. What side note, when we were just at Disney, 3 of our dinners were charcuterie boards.
Amazing.
We were like, we had a kind of big lunch, charcuterie board again. So cheese, crackers, meats, some fig jam. I am happy. So that is one of my favorite things is that cheese crawl. For this particular festival, you have Remy's Ratatouille Hide and Squeak scavenger hunt. For the kids, families, it's a scavenger hunt through World Showcase. Again, just like the other two we had touched upon, it's a great, great scavenger hunt.
And an opportunity for your kids to be immersed in the World Showcase.
Yeah.
looking for Remy, finding where he is, and learning a little bit about the countries as he goes through.
Yep, exactly. And you also have something for the big kids, which is the Brew Wing Lab, normally located at the Odyssey area of Epcot. It features experimental flavors like peanut butter and jelly wings or pickle milkshakes. So I don't know about you. I did hear the pickle milkshake wasn't so bad, but I haven't personally
I'm
tried it.
sure it's not. It's something you make a face, but you know that's going to be the first thing I try.
Yeah. The pickle milkshake has been there for a couple of years. I did not try it. So you can let me know how it is.
Yes, I will let you know. We can say that the Brew Wing Lab puts the experimental in Epcot.
Yes, it certainly does.
Now, once that festival's done, there is a very short break,
Mhm.
right? And then we move into International Festival of the Holidays.
We do. And this festival is also celebrating 30 years. It debuted in 1996. So, another exciting milestone for Epcot, and the festival's there. This normally opens late November, so after Thanksgiving, and runs through late December. Although, as I mentioned previously, you might see a couple of little hints of it into marathon weekend, but the festival itself, the booths, the activities, those end in late December.
One of the reasons is it really is focused on the holidays. You have your visual piece. Of course, you've got the amazing decorations throughout Epcot, specifically done in each one of the pavilions to reflect what their culture does as holiday celebrations, along with you've got the pop-ups and what they do in their countries. You have the holiday storytellers. That's really my favorite, is listening to the stories of the different storytellers that represent their countries.
And then you have Father Christmas in the UK, in the Barn Santa in Norway, and each of these different Santas are giving their versions, their country's Christmas stories. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do with your family. But the crown jewel of this festival is the Candlelight Processional. This is where a celebrity narrator tells the Christmas story along with a 50-piece orchestra and a massive choir. It is so incredibly beautiful and moving. It is a must-see if you're going to be there during this time.
And every single narrator is amazing at it. I don't think that there would be a day that you're there that you would end up with a bad show. We, of course, don't know who's going to be there in 2026 yet, but 2025 had narrators like Constance Wu, Ralph Macchio, Henry Winkler, Luis Fonsi, and of course, returning favorite Gary Sinise.
Yeah, and one tip, while anybody can attend the nightly candlelight processional, but you're not guaranteed entry if you do the standby line. However, there are dining packages that you can book, and it guarantees you a seat. Doesn't guarantee you a front row seat. We ate at La Hacienda, and then we had our ticket so that we could come back in line later and guarantee our entry. It tells you what your return time is. We were probably halfway back. So it's guaranteeing you a seat without having to line up 3 hours in advance to actually get in. And we did see Gary Sinise, and he was
Oh, wow.
amazing. He was incredible. Definitely worth it. If this is a must do for you, just the Candlelight Processional in general, or their specific storyteller, I highly recommend booking that dining package. And then a couple of things that this festival has that the other three festivals we talked about do. They have holiday kitchens, which usually it's seasonal comfort foods from around the world, like slow roasted turkeys, tamales, latkes, all different things that you love to eat during the holiday. And Heidi, you touched on this a couple of times already.
Yes, the cookie stroll. Can you tell that I really enjoyed it while we were
Yes,
there?
I love it too.
There was a choice of roughly 10 different options
Mhm.
that we had. It gave us the opportunity to pick and choose the ones we really wanted to try. We tried 5 of them, and in the end, I wish I had brought it down for the recording. I got the cutest spatula that says International Festival of the Holidays 2025, and it's such a wonderful takeaway from and memory from going around. And man, did we try some really good cookies.
Yeah, I love that. We've also done that as a family. And similar to some of the other festivals in like Emo's Fromage Montage during Food and Wine, you actually have a little book that you can get stamps in when you're buying those specific cookies, which is what you show after you've done 5 cookies, and then you get your special treat or special gift or whatever it might be that they're offering that year. I remember the year we did it, it was a special cookie at the end. And so, like you just mentioned, you guys got a gift as a spatula.
And the other things that they offer, again, for all of these festivals, there's going to be seasonal or special non-alcoholic beverages, alcoholic beverages, usually a mix of beers and coffees. You really get to enjoy all sorts of different fun stuff. My husband had a great time going around trying he went kind of back and forth between stouts, which it's comfort food. So he was able to grab a bunch of different stouts around the international showcase and then mix it between coffees. So he'd kind of go back and forth between a stout and a coffee. And he was able to get peanut butter, peppermint, all sorts of different flavors that just really encompass the season in a cup.
I mean, all 4 of these festivals, the food, the drinks are just incredible. And I think one of the other things is merchandise. Every single festival has their own specific merchandise. So while they have their own specific foods and their own specific decor going on throughout the parks, they've got their own specific collectible pins, their collectible ears, their own t-shirts and mugs and wine glasses and all kinds of things that are commemorative products for that particular year's festival, because each of the festivals are going to have a little bit of theming too, like with the Festival of the Arts and Figment being the mascot of that. You're going to find that, Orange Bird in Flower and Garden in 2020, you're going to find those little things throughout the festival. So each year, the t-shirts, the mugs, the cups, the pins, they're all going to be slightly different.
One of my favorite things is when they do a little bit of an overlay, especially for International Festival of the Holidays. I know it is the holidays and all of the parks get some type of holiday theming to them. But one of the things that I really liked about EPCOT is Figment gets his sweater, and you can buy his sweater,
Yeah.
which has everything on there, the different ears that you can get. I finally picked up my Christmas ears this year. I am very happy for that. So I have those for next year. And you'll be able to find those theme things for the festivals. And sometimes you can only find them during the festivals.
Other than sometimes there's a little bit left over in the week in between festivals or the week in between events, you might find some t-shirts, but memorabilia, the major products that go along with that festival, the day the festival ends, next day they're gone. So if you want those collectibles, you want those ears, you need to travel during the festival time. So by the time we air this episode, we're recording in January. It's going to air on February 1st of 2026. You will still have 3 weeks left of the Festival of the Arts. So if you didn't have a chance to book earlier and this is something you don't want to miss, we can get you down there. There is still plenty of time to get booked for those festivals and to make sure you don't miss them.
Talking about this makes me even more excited about going over spring break to the International Flower and Garden Festival. I'm always excited to go to EPCOT, but every time we talk about it, I get more and more psyched. We want to thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that we've shared some great information with you and that you'll join us for some future episodes where we expand even more on what EPCOT and Walt Disney World has to offer.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining us on this episode. Make sure you follow us anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit subscribe on Spotify or your favorite podcast player. And while you're there, feel free to leave us a rating and review.
Check out the show notes for links to Spellbound Vacations LLC and House of Mackie Travel. Until next time, keep living your best travel life.